Good morning. Welcome to NewsWare's Trade Talk for Friday, June 12th. Okay, let's get into the action. Take a look at the S&Ps, which we're trading higher. We're up 0.51%, more than half of 1%. That's positive, and it is encouraging. The markets are encouraged by the prospects of a U.S.-Iranian peace deal and the potential of the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. You look at oil prices; they're moving lower. But this one seems a little bit more real because you've got some real positive comments coming out of Iran's news agency. So, yeah, this actually might happen. Markets were popping yesterday, and they're continuing the upward momentum this morning. That's good to see. On the economic front today, we got the University of Michigan's consumer sentiment data. Now, this is the University of Michigan report. It's still a good report. In corporate news today, that highly anticipated SpaceX IPO is scheduled to begin trading today. The valuations are at a $1.3 trillion valuation, very high. I don't know if it's going to be able to hold that anticipated price, but we'll have to see. There's going to be a lot of selling by individuals coming in if the stock goes up too much. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But that IPO is happening today. Also, the 2026 European Hematology Association conference, that gets underway today. And, you got presentations from Aviva, Gilead, and Insight. They're all presenting today. Let's not forget that G7 summit. That begins next week in France. Let's talk about some index-related news. The NASDAQ 100 is going to be rebalanced. You got CoreWeave, you got Astra Labs, you got Nabius, you got Rocket Lab, and Teradyne. They're all going to be added to the index on June 22nd. On the corporate calendar, you got shareholders meetings going on from Rockwell Automation, Regeneron Pharmaceuticals, and Best Buy. In terms of the earnings, Adobe trading lower after its earnings, but next week we got earnings reports coming out from Dave & Buster's Entertainment, Trip.com, Lazy Boy, J-Bill, CarMax, Kroger, and others. So it all looks like another week of good earnings. Let's take a look at Europe, and let's take a look at the DAX. The DAX is up 1.41% or 341 points this morning with positive action in banks, travel, industrials, and automakers. You got the FTSE up 1.07% with strength in financials and mining stocks. The CAC in Paris is up 1.65%, led by gains in what else? Luxury goods and also financial stocks. Then you move over to Asia last night, and Asia was also green across the board. You got the Nikkei jumping 1,802 points. That's 2.81% with strong gains in tech and AI-related stocks. Hong Kong finished higher by 1.93% with gains in financials, technology, and retail stocks. That was really leading the advance. And Shanghai in China was up 1.12%. It was a strong rebound in those e-commerce stocks. Alibaba type Baidu trading higher, so that was all positive. Now we're going on to oil, and we're looking at oil. Oil is down this morning. WTI is trading at $84.94. That's down 3.16%. You got Brent at $87.76. That's down 2.90%. Listen, oil was down over 4%. Now it's only down around 3%, but it's at its lowest level in about 8 weeks as this optimism around an Iranian-U.S. peace deal appears to be happening. Now, it may happen this weekend, but I think it's going to be more likely happening next week at that G7 summit. But we'll have to wait and see. But this would be very beneficial for the market if we get lower oil prices to help. And remember, most of the infrastructure of these OPEC nations remains valid, so they could start kicking up production at any time. Let's talk about earnings. We got Adobe, ticker ADBE. They came out with earnings last night. And listen, the stock's getting hit. It's down 7.5% this morning. They beat by 15 cents. They did it on higher revenue, but there are some concerns there. Upcoming on Monday, you got Dave & Buster's, ticker PLAY. EPS is 37 cents. Expected move is 19.59%. You got Trip.com, TCOM, Tom, Charlie, Oscar, Mary. EPS is 85 cents. Expected move is 11.61%. Those are both in the afternoon. On the economic front today, we got consumer sentiment. This is a preliminary figure out of the University of Michigan. And then we have Baker Hughes rig count at 1 p.m. In terms of FANG stock news, Google's in talks with Samsung for input-output dies for its 10th generation TPU. Meta completes its operational shift from Magnus after not getting Chinese approval to take over the firm. Tesla showing gains ahead of the SpaceX IPO. I'd be a little cautious there. In terms of Dow Jones 30 news, NVIDIA has informed Chinese clients that its Vera chip is going to be available in August, is their expectations. Honeywell, trading higher. Remember, they got that planned breakup started on June 29th. NVIDIA said they're going to have the shareholders meeting on June 24th. Corporate calendars, as mentioned, Rockwell, Regeneron Pharmaceutical, Best Buy, shareholders meetings today. Adobe, on a buyback news, their board approved the $25 billion share buyback. Okay, let's move on to the pick of the day. I'm gonna go with FLUT, Flutter, Frank, Larry, Uncle Tom. It's going to delist on the LSE, and the only listing left is going to be on the New York Stock Exchange. You got the World Cup news going on. I mean, those are both beneficial for Flutter. And the brokers do like the stock. They got elevated price targets. They're mixed on the near-term sentiment. But I think going in today, I think Flutter is an opportunity. But for me, I want to, I'm going to kind of hold off. I'm going to try and get in at a 110 handle. Under 111, let's say 110.50, but I think, there can be 1% movement out of that stock this morning. But that's my pick of the day. Flutter, FLUT, 110.50. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about some of the news hitting the tape in the last 15 minutes or so, see what we see. Jazz Pharmaceutical says Phase 3 Lagoon trial did not meet primary endpoints. Not good. Build-A-Bear says Chris Hurt assumes CEO role as part of a planned succession. Pre-IPO futures anticipate a 30% pop in SpaceX stock. Yeah, wouldn't want to hold on to it much longer than that. Iran says nuclear talks will take place within a 60-day period after signing. Rocket Labs had joined the NASDAQ 100 at the opening, 622. AMD gets a big upgrade. Stock's up more than 2%. Trump allies have discussed pushing lawmakers to pass resolution to expunge impeachments. Adobe says AI accelerating customer behaviors at an unprecedented speed. All right, that's all I'm seeing. Okay, now we're going to move on to our pick from yesterday, which was Adobe. Now, I made money in it. I was trading some of the options, and I bought, during the real weak period, and I got out during that pop in the afternoon, which was positive, but overall the stock didn't, meet the 1%. I mean, the data looked okay. As I was saying, the brokers weren't too positive on it, so I was a little cautious going into it. I was watching it closely, waiting for that entry price, but the weakness just continued, and it just didn't work out. Adobe was not a win yesterday. All right, traders, that concludes today's podcast. You guys know what to do. Let's go out there and let's make some green.